Well, were you expecting that one? Yeah, that's AEW, my first AEW show, AEW All Out 2021, done. I'm tired. It's been a long show. It's been a 4-hour show, if I'm not mistaken. Plus half an hour. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm tired, but I want to get this video out now. So, we start with the buy-in, the 10-man tag. Let me see if I can remember what happened in that match. Well, there was a lot of different comedy spots here and there. For example, there was one point where everyone was just grabbing each other in some sort of rest hold until Luchasaurus ran in and just bowled over everyone. And I remember one spot that I was impressed by where one of the members of Private Party held one in some sort of position while the other hit a shooting star press on top. That might be something that people have seen before, but I liked it. And then it ended with, I think it was Angelico who got locked in a snare trap by Jungle Boy, and he taps out. So Team Face wins there. Sorry, I don't have much else to say. It was a long time ago. Anyway, we move on to the first match of the show, which was the TNT Championship match. Miro versus Eddie Kingston. A very hard-hitting match back and forth. A lot of slaps, a lot of forearms back and forth. At one point, I think it's either Miro or Eddie Kingston. Someone takes off the turnbuckle. The one part of the turnbuckle pad, then Miro locks. Then Miro is able to lock Eddie Kingston into the game over, but he breaches the ropes. Miro briefly thinks about hitting the ref, Eddie Kingston with the. With that part of the turnbuckle, but doesn't want to get disqualified, which allows Eddie Kingston to capitalize and hit some sort of DDT, but only gets a 2 count. Then the referee tries to fix the turnbuckle, but only exposes it. Then Eddie tries to throw Miro into the exposed turnbuckle, but the referee gets in the way. They scuffle a little bit, and in the confusion, Miro hits Eddie Kingston below the belt. Miro then hits what was known as the Machka kick. I don't know if it has a different name now. In the face for a 1-2-3. Miro retains. It was fine. It was a good opening match. I wasn't too invested in it because I was already tired by that point, which became more evident when we got to the next match. Jon Moxley versus Satoshi Kojima. I'm gonna be frank with you guys. I'm not proud of this, but I accidentally fell asleep during this match. I was tired and I fell asleep for a brief moment. I woke up to see Jon Moxley gain some momentum back, hit 2 paradigm shifts, and get the pinfall. So I saw the ending, but I feel like I missed a lot. And I'm not sure if Fight TV allows you to rewatch pay-per-views, but that's definitely a match I need to go back and see again. But that's not going to be right now. But then again, the big talking point here isn't that match, it's the aftermath. Because after Moxley had won, he was celebrating when suddenly some music played, and the name Minoru Suzuki popped up on screen. Now, I don't watch New Japan, but I'm familiar with how dangerous a certain Minoru Suzuki is. And he is a bit of a Japanese legend. And he came out, and him and Moxley started brawling, and until Minoru Suzuki hit him with a pile driver. And towards the end of the night, it was announced that on the next Dynamite, in Moxley's hometown, he's going to be facing Minoru Suzuki. And judging by a promo he cut right before that, I assume that these two have faced off before. So, that ought to be interesting. So yeah, that's surprise number 1 of the night. There's a few more to come. Anyway, next up we had Dr. Britt Baker DMD defending her championship against Chris Statlander. Both went for early finishers to begin with, but that's something I remember. I also remember that there was a lot of good back and forth here and there. One moment, Orange Cassidy, who was accompanying Chris Statlander, suddenly got out of his docile demeanor and started yelling at Chris to get back in when she was about to be counted out. So that was interesting. Then you get to the finish. I think it's like Chris has some momentum, but Britt Baker stops her and hits a apparently it's called when she does it, it's a Pittsburgh Sunrise, but basically Adam Cole's Panama Sunrise onto Chris Statlander, only gets a 2 count. Hits a curb stomp, gets a 2 count, but Chris is completely out of it. So when she locks in the lockjaw, she's completely out of it, and the referee calls for the bell. Britt Baker retains. So yeah. Next. So yeah, that was the fine match. I can't really say much else. But then we get to a match that was really putting me on the edge of my toes. The tag team steel cage match. Between the Lucha Brothers and the Young Bucks. Again, lots of back and forth here inside the cage. A lot of interesting moves here and there. At one point though, the Young Bucks go super heelish in it. They start it's like when the Lucha Brothers either kick out or break up a pinfall, that they pretty much had the match won for them. They start ripping at the Lucha Brothers masks, and then Brandon Cutler, who's on the outside, tosses a bag into the ring. Matt Jackson takes off one of his boots and takes out the item inside the bag, which is a boot covered in thumbtacks. He puts it on. It's about to give a super kick to Ray Phoenix, but then Pentagon stops him, trying to protect his brother, and gets kicked in the head for it. There's multiple kicks in the head. But the Lucha Brothers stay strong throughout all of it, and actually grab the boot and proceeds to hit the Young Bucks with it at some point. And from this point forward, Matt Jackson wrestles on one boot. Anyway, the finish comes when Ray Phoenix climbs to the top because they're about to hit their finisher from the top. But the Young Bucks try to stop it, but Pentagon is able to counter it. Then Phoenix actually jumps from the cage onto everyone. Then the Lucha Brothers hit their finisher onto Nick Jackson, I think. Ray runs over and stops Matt Jackson from interfering. Pentagon pins. 1, 2, 3. New tag team champions. So yeah, I was right in going for my gamble there. So yeah, as you may have noticed, I got all my predictions right. Right so far. That was unfortunately about to change when we got to the main event. I actually written down... no, not the main event. That was about to change when we got to the Casino Battle Royal. I'd actually written down all the participants in each suit and all that, but I really just want to get this over with. I'm not gonna waste time on that. The only thing I will point out is I was surprised at just how short amount of time Hikaru Shida got in the match. They built up Nyla Rose quite a bit by having her eliminate a lot of people. Abaddon got absolutely no time at all. It's like she was the second person eliminated. And of course, we got to talk about the big one, the Joker. Surprise 2 of the night, Ruby Soho, the former Ruby Riott, debuted for All Elite Wrestling. And I'm kicking myself now for not picking the Joker because she ended up winning the damn thing. Hitting what was known as the Riot Kick onto Thunder Rosa and knocking her out, winning the match. So she's the new #1 contender. And it's announced she's going to appear here on the next Dynamite to address the situation, I guess. So yeah, Ruby Soho. It was a very nice surprise. Everyone was really happy to see her, and hey, at least Thunder Rosa got a big win by eliminating Nyla Rose, who was third in the match. So hey, there's that. Only reason I'm a little bit peeved is because I picked Thunder Rosa also for my predictions, and you know I want to get as many predictions right as I can. But yeah, there was that. Next up on the list we had... Oh yeah, one thing I forgot to mention about the tag match. I just remembered that the Lucha Brothers actually had live music going to the ring. So they're definitely not sticking to the WWE trend of if you get a live music performance of your theme song to the ring, you lose. Because they didn't. So interesting. Anyway, we get to the next match, which is MJF versus Chris Jericho. And as after the video package is over, we see Jericho's old countdown, like the Millennium Countdown when he was debuting for WWE. He counts down to 1, and then flash up Jericho's last match. And of course, out comes MJF. That son of a bitch. As for Jericho's entrance, he has the guitarist of Fozzy playing Judas for him on the way there, and the music is very off sync with the crowd singing. Ugh, that was not good. Match itself though was fine. It was kind of a mix of greatest hits from Jericho doing all his signature moves like the corner like the corner drop kick, the lion salt, the code breaker and stuff like that. But one overall thing that was going on in this match was MJF obviously posing and doing all that. But one thing was MJF was working over Jericho's arm because, you know, he had previously beaten Jericho with his Fujiwara armbar. But Jericho, on the other hand, was doing damage to MJF's lower back, which would make him prime for the Walls of Jericho. Anyway, we get towards the finish. Jericho is in control when suddenly Wardlow shows up on the ramp, but is then followed by Jake Hager. The two brawl, a couple of referees come out to try and stop them. The referee in the ring is distracted, which allows MJF to hit Jericho with Floyd the baseball bat, hit his own Judas effect. 1, 2, Jericho puts his foot on the rope, but the referee doesn't see it. She counts 3, MJF is declared a winner. Jericho's career is over. Or is it? Because one of the referees that came out to stop the brawl runs over to the referee in the ring and says, I saw Jericho's foot on the rope before you counted 3. She takes this as face value. They don't even show the clip again to corroborate the story, but okay. She accepts it. It tells Justin Roberts that she's restarting the match. Jericho immediately goes for a roll-up. MJF kicks out, goes for a Fujiwara armbar, has it locked in for a while. Jericho goes for another roll-up. MJF kicks out, goes for another armbar, but Jericho reverses it into the walls, holds him for a very long time, pulls him away from the ropes, and eventually MJF taps out, and Jericho gets to stay. So yeah, that was a bit overbooked finish, but a fun one still. So hey, I have no complaints. Well done there. Next up, the big one. The one match that I think a lot of people bought this pay-per-view for. CM Punk versus Darby Allin. And this match was a lot more technical than I thought it was going to be. I'm not that familiar with Darby Allin, but he has a bit of a reputation as a daredevil, so I kind of expect a lot more high spots in a match involving him. And CM Punk hasn't been a slouch when it comes to high spots in the past either. But it was a lot more rest holds, a lot more actual mat wrestling than that. Not to say there weren't high spots. A couple of dives from Darby, a slingshot, an Irish whip where Darby just flies with his back first into the turnbuckle, into the ring post. There was a couple of callbacks to the. Punk's match with John Cena at Money in the Bank. For example, at one point he reverses one of Darby's moves into the GTS, and Darby just falls out of the ring, and Punk reaches out for him. I think there was another one, but I don't remember what it was. There was one more that I remember. Anyway, we get to the finish. Darby goes for the coffin drop. And actually does the motion towards CM Punk, but he misses. Punk goes to lay on him for a cover, but Darby rolls him up, kick out. A series of counters, but eventually Punk gets him into the go to sleep, hits it, 1, 2, 3, CM Punk wins. It was a fine match, and it shows that Punk can still go, which is good. So that means we're probably going to see a few more matches from him, which is nice to hear. I'm not sure if other people are gonna think highly of the match, but honestly, I wasn't expecting it to be a great match. I just wanted to see if Punk could still go, and he definitely can. I would say that. Was it the best match ever? I wouldn't say that. They could maybe have a better match down the line if they choose to have a rematch. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes going forward. Next up, a match to calm down the crowd, considering that, they just witnessed a lot of matches that would get them. It's Paul Wight versus QT Marshall. This match was actually really short. It starts with Paul Wight just slapping QT Marshall's chest a couple of times. Then QT's cronies get in the ring and start distracting him. QT gets some offense in, but eventually Paul powers out, and Jim Ross accidentally calls him Big Show at one point. Just thought I'd mention that. I know Jim Ross has a habit of calling people by the wrong name. I know, but still. Anyway, eventually Paul is able to run off the Stooges, catches QT in a choke slam. 1, 2, 3. Very short match, really. And that was the only other match I was wrong about. Every other one I got right. Which leads us to the main event. I'm just gonna hold my hands up on this one as well. I didn't fall asleep on this one, but I was watching this on the web browser on my PS4, and when I need to move it so it doesn't go to black. Need to move the controller just so it doesn't go to black. I accidentally turned off the stream, so I missed a small portion of the match. I don't think I missed anything important, but I'm just saying that if there was a big spot that you felt like I should have mentioned, well, I didn't, well, maybe it was part of the stream I missed. But anyway, some high spots from this match. Very start of the match, Kenny immediately starts by running at Christian with a V trigger, but misses, and Christian tries to turn it into the kill switch, but gets out of it. From that point, they go back to a normal match. Then at one point we have a very interesting one. They fight on the outside. Christian gets knocked down. Kenny pulls out a table, puts it on top of Christian. And then he runs and hits a double foot stomp that actually breaks the table on top of Christian. That's an inventive spot for a table that I've never seen before. He pulls out another table, but that doesn't get used until later. There's a lot of counters back and forth until eventually we get to that table spot where they fight back and forth as to whether or not who's going to go through the table, be it like Kenny tries desperately to get him through with a German suplex, or even at one point then Christian turns it into the kill switch, but then Kenny tries with the one-winged angel, but eventually Christian is the one to get it and hits a spear off the apron through the table. Then he gets Kenny back in the ring, hits a spear to the back of Kenny, then he hits a regular spear, 2 count. Then at one point, while Christian's in control, suddenly Gallows and Anderson show up. Christian knocks down knocks down Anderson, but Gallows is able to capture Christian, and of course Don Callis is occupying the referee. Kenny goes for a V trigger, but Christian moves, hits Luke Gallows. No, Doc Gallows, I think. Or is it? I don't know, actually. But anyway, Gallows goes down. He hits the kill switch. 2 count. Eventually, he then gets Kenny over to the corner. Corner is probably going for a top. Is aiming to do a top rope kill switch. But then Don Callis gets in the ring. Christian chases him off, which gives Kenny enough time to stop Christian. Gets him up. Does a second rope elevated one-winged angel. 1, 2, 3. And Kenny Omega is still the AEW champion. they did protect Christian quite a bit here by having him lose to a Avalanche One-Winged Angel. So good on you there, protecting the Impact Champion like that. Anyway, after his victory, Kenny, the rest of the Elite come out to celebrate with them and start beating up Christian again. This caused the Jurassic Express to come out to try and help out, but the numbers game is too much and they're knocked down. Kenny then grabs a microphone and talks trash for a moment, and you think, oh, someone's gonna interrupt him. And the crowd starts chanting yes because they think Bryan Danielson's gonna show up, and Kenny's talking like, no one can beat me, because the only ones who could are not here, already retired, or they're already dead. Then the lights go out. And you think, oh. And Adam Cole's Titantron suddenly shows up. I didn't recognize the music. Adam Cole comes out. He gets in the ring, does the Adam Cole baby, and then proceeds to super kick Jungle Boy, hugs the Young Bucks, and shows that he is part of the Elite again. He then grabs a microphone and says that these guys are his best friends and he's gonna stick with them, and there's no chance in hell that anyone's gonna stop them. To a Vince McMahon. So yeah, Adam Cole's in AEW now. So Kenny grabs the microphone to send the crowd home, says good night and all that, when suddenly, yep, Ride of the Valkyrie starts playing, or at least the intro, and then it turns into a remix of Ride of the Valkyries, at least I think it was, and out comes Bryan Danielson. Danielson goes into the ring. The Christian and the Jurassic Express join forces with him, and they start beating the crap out of the Elite. They beat them down. I think they capture Nick Jackson, hold him in the ring, and Bryan hits him with a running knee, and he stands tall at the end of the night to all the Elite. While the Elite run scared. So yeah, there were speculations about Adam Cole. There were speculations about Bryan Danielson. We got both, as well as Ruby Soho coming back and becoming the new #1 contender. And we're having a very interesting match for Dynamite with Jon Moxley versus Minoru Suzuki. So overall, a lot of interesting matches. Now as for Christian versus Kenny Omega, it was a really good match. I feel it was kind of ruined by one, long show, and two, that hiccup I made. That's on me though. That's on me. But I'm sure it was a really damn good match. It still was a good match. Don't get me wrong. Overall, this show, outside of Paul Wight versus QT Marshall, the whole show in and of itself was really good. And any matches that were underwhelming was probably just my fault. Like, again, the fact that I fell asleep during Jon Moxley versus Satoshi Kojima, and the technical hiccup I made with Kenny Omega versus Christian Cage. Sorry, I need to learn to. I probably could just call him Christian for a long time. I'm a WWE guy. I have known him as Christian for years, so I need to get used to saying Christian Cage. But yeah, that's All Out. Good show. I won't say anything else. It was a really good show. Bit long, I feel like there's a part of me that feels like you could have not done certain matches on this card, maybe. But maybe that's just me. Maybe it's been so long since I've done a pay-per-view that I've just got forgotten it, and you know. So I don't know. Maybe I would just wasn't prepared to throw my sleep schedule completely out of whack. Who knows? So it might just be me, and it was still a good show. Does this mean I'm gonna start doing pay-per-view, doing AEW pay-per-views going forward? Like, am I gonna do Full Gear in November? I don't think so, but it depends. If it's something really interesting that I want to see, and considering that they just debuted Bryan Danielson and Adam Cole, there's a very strong possibility for that. So, we'll see. I'm not promising Full Gear. I might, but I'm not promising anything. So anyway, those are my thoughts. Whatever comes next. So we'll see if the next time you see me is for Full Gear or not. Who knows? Good night.